Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a stack of research on Indian Costus.
Yeah, also known as Couth or Sansevieria costus.
Right. And I have to say, looking at the data, this plant feels like the perfect example of that natural medicine paradox.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, on one hand, you have this root natives to India and China that's been a total heavyweight in Ayurveda and Unani medicine for centuries.
And the modern validation for that is surprisingly strong.
It really is. But then on the other hand, you have a safety warning attached to this stuff that is, well, it's genuinely terrifying.
It's a total Jekyll and Hyde situation. So our mission today is to walk you through these benefits because they are legitimate, but also explain why you cannot just grab this off a shelf without doing some serious homework.
Exactly. So if we start with the traditional side, this was the go-to toolkit for everything from asthma and coughs to digestive issues like gas, dysentery, and cholera.
But the standout application historically was for parasites, and the modern data on this is really granular.
It is, specifically regarding nematodes, so worms.
Yeah, I was looking at that study involving children with nematode infections. They didn't just test the Costus root against a placebo.
Right, they ran it head-to-head against parental pimoate.
Which is basically the standard pharmaceutical dewormer.
That is the gold standard of testing right there. And the Costus root held its own. According to the research, it was essentially as effective as the actual drug in reducing the egg counts in stool samples.
That's wild. It validates that this isn't just a placebo effect. The root oil has chemicals that are actively hostile to parasites.
Yes, and researchers believe the mechanism isn't just about killing worms. When you look at the respiratory benefits, like why it works for asthma, chemicals in the oil might actually prevent airways from narrowing.
Which potentially lowers blood pressure, too.
Right. It acts as a relaxant for the host, but a toxin for the invader.
And that hostility extends to the cellular level, which brings us to some pretty intense details in the plant's chemistry.
Yeah, the anti-inflammatory and analgesic activities are well documented, but it gets even more intense when we look at the oncology research.
The cancer data.
Exactly. There are compounds in the root, specifically dihydrocostus lactone, showing up in lab trials on cancer cells.
This was the leukemia and prostate cancer data, right?
Correct. It's inducing apoptosis in those cells. For those not deep in the biology, that is programmed cell death.
It basically flips a switch in the cancer cell that tells it to self-destruct.
Precisely. And we see similar targeted action in dental health research. Sansevieria lapa, which is just another name for the plant, specifically targets Streptococcus mutans.
Which is the primary bacteria linked to cavities.
Right. The research shows it inhibits their growth and stops them from adhering to the teeth.
Because if the bacteria can't stick, they can't eat through the enamel.
Exactly. And there's even newer research from just 2021 to 2024 looking at its effects on benign prostatic hyperplasia, intestinal mucositis, and managing carbohydrate metabolism in diabetic models.
The bioactivity here is just undeniable.
It is.
But this brings us to the pivot. Because if Indian Costus is so powerful against worms, cancer cells, and bacteria, you'd expect it to be in every health food store.
But it's not.
And that's because of the red flag we mentioned.
The aristolochic acid problem. This is the part you really need to focus on. Costus products are frequently contaminated with a compound called aristolochic acid.
And this isn't just a mild allergen.
No, it is a potent carcinogen, and it causes severe kidney damage.
And to be clear, this is usually an issue of the supply chain, right? It's often due to substitution or poor quality control where other toxic plants get mixed into the batch.
Often, yes. But the risk is so incredibly high that the FDA actually has the authority to confiscate these products at the border. Unless a maker can prove with lab specs that their product is completely free of aristolochic acid, it's considered unsafe.
Which essentially ruins the market for the casual consumer. You can't just trust a natural label because the contaminant literally destroys your kidneys.
Exactly. And that is on top of standard allergy warnings. If you are allergic to the Asteraceae or Compositae family, so ragweed, marigolds, daisies, you may have a severe reaction to this.
And what about pregnancy?
Complete avoidance. There is insufficient safety information, so it's a hard no.
Okay, so let's distill this down. Indian Costus is a legitimate, potent herb. There is promising research showing it kills worms, fights inflammation, and targets cancer cells.
But the risk of supply chain contamination makes purity paramount. You are rolling the dice with your kidneys unless you use a product that is lab-tested and certified free of aristolochic acid.
Purity is the only thing that matters here. But it really makes you wonder, as we use modern science to validate these ancient remedies, how many other traditional herbs sitting in our cabinets right now are powerful medicines hiding dangerous contaminants we just haven't identified yet?
That is a very unsettling thought.
It really is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.